Can you differentiate between those?
Yeah, positive test cases is use valid inputs when a user enters valid credentials, they sign in the system. A negative test cases is are use invalid inputs. If a user enters incorrect uh, credentials like login or password, they cannot sign in.
Okay.
And the destructive is aim to discover what the system can be handled until it breaks.
Yes. Sounds about right. You did do the assignment quite seriously. Kudos.
Thank you.
Each and every definition or the concepts that you have told me right now, it's exactly correct. Nothing we need to add or nothing we need to remove from those definitions that you have just told me. Okay. So,
My examples were correct as well, right?
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The bang on. Your examples were exactly what we would have, what I would have given. So, now let us have some examples of each test cases. Can you give an example?
Yeah, the example I can say the user manuals uh, where we can create
Some more
the
examples apart from login. Give me some more example. The example
like
that you mentioned,
test.
right? Just
Yeah,
apart from those examples, any other examples? Try and give, please.
yeah. Test case structures. I'll say
No, no,
the
I mean
I.
three type of test cases that you just mentioned. No?
Uh-huh.
Positive test cases, negative cases, and destructive test cases. Give an example apart from that login one. You just gave it. Give some other examples.
Uh, the other examples is like the home button. I'll say.
Okay, so let me give you a scenario. It's
Okay.
best if I give you a scenario and then you give me the example of test cases. Suppose uh, that we do go to our social media. Okay, you are done with the login functionality testing. Now you need to perform the same testing on the settings menu. Okay,
Yes.
so you need to perform a positive test case, a negative test case, and a destructive test case in settings page. Now give me an example. You are free to choose any kind of functionality you want, but it should be related to settings page. You are free to assume anything as long as it is related to the settings page. And it should be a normal type of test case. I mean, just go ahead and give an example for settings page. For all
Uh,
the
for for settings page, I'll say the password changes where we need to input the previous password and we need to create a new passwords.
Okay, let us ignore that password test cases. Something else, not the password one. Again, it's very similar to login. So you'll be giving the same example only. Leave
Okay.
the password change. Any other example for the settings page? There are two.
Uh, yeah, I'll say like in a settings buttons we have like a lot of options like homes, system,
Hmm,
Bluetooth devices, network, internet, personalization,
correct.
accounts, time and language,
Uh-huh.
gaming, accessibility, private security.
Okay.
Like if we go for the
Mm-hmm.
Private security part where we can have security walls, windows. It is for the protections, like if the windows are like secure or not.
Okay. Leave it, Deepan. I'll give you the examples for settings page. Okay. So
Oh, okay.
I'll give you the examples. Now let us open the settings menu for Mac. So can you see
I
these?
did. Yeah,
Can you?
I did mine as well. Yes, I can
Yes.
see that.
That's why I opened the settings menu because I thought that you were reading the settings menu of your iPhone. So no problem. Now you can see there are different kinds of options here. Okay.
Yes.
Now we want to test three type of test cases, and I told you that you can use any of the fields available. So we'll be randomly selecting any field here. First, which field would you want to test? Let me know. I'll give you the examples for three test cases related to that field. Choose any field that you want.
I'll say the lock screen.
Lock screen. Where exactly is that?
It's next to the battery. Go down, down, all the way down, down.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Next to the battery.
Okay, screens, yes,
Next.
lock screen. Okay, now we are here in the lock screen part itself. Okay, now what we want to do for the positive testing. Okay, first of all, we'll be tackling positive testing. And as I had mentioned, you can use any menu that you want. For suppose for positive testing, if we want to do, what we should do is, huh, yes, see this second option.
Yes, turn display.
Turn display off on battery when inactive. And I need to select the options here. Correct?
Yes,
By default, there are many options. So first,
yes.
what for positive testing, what would I do? I would select any one of the option as
Uh-huh.
mentioned here. Now I can select, you can say 3 minutes. I'll just select that 3 minute button. Okay.
Mhm.
Now
Yes,
in order to test it positively, I just need to confirm whether the screen becomes, I mean, the screen turns off after 3 minutes. So what I'll have to do, I'll just select the 3 minutes settings.
yes,
And I'll just wait for 3 minutes, and I won't be doing any kind of work on my screen.
yes,
I won't be moving my pointers or anything, and I'll wait for 3 minutes, and the screen should turn off.
yes.
Turns off, then we are good to go. If it
Yeah.
does not, then we need to raise an issue. So that is a positive testing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, in order to do a negative testing, what we need to do? For negative testing, we need to test the negative scenarios. In order to do that, now we must make sure. For negative testing, do we take this one or exactly? There's no better example here for negative testing. Hmm. We can't use this one also. Okay, let us take an example like There is option for only minimum time that is available is 1 minute. Okay, and the maximum time is never. Am I audible, Dipen?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Hmm. So the minimum time is 1 minute and the maximum time is never. Now for
Uh-huh.
negative testing, what we need to do is we somehow try to change this minimum time from 1 minute to 30 seconds. We need to do that for negative testing. Okay.
Yes.
So were we able to do that by any means? Like if we try to right click on it or by any other means, were we able to shift it to 30 seconds?
No,
There is no possible way because
no
actually
possibilities here.
because there because we do not have any custom options here, correct?
Yes,
So we can't just select that 30 seconds duration. So the negative test case for this would be to just give that 30 seconds timer, but we are not able to do that. So the negative test case failed and it's
failed.
good. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Now coming to the destructive test cases. Now, in destructive test cases, what we try to do is there is a lock screen option here. Okay. Now, for our destructive test cases, we need to do something that the lock screen does not work at all. Okay. We need to make certain changes that we are not able to use the lock screen options, or even better, we are not able to use that entire Mac itself. That would be the destructive test case here. Okay.
Yes.
And for that, if we try to figure out, is there any kind of menus or settings that we can just switch to, which would allow us to do so? We don't see any kind of here, correct? That would
Yes.
allow us to do so. So that is not possible here. So again, that test case would fail.
Failed.
So these are the three examples of the test cases.
Positive, negative, and the destructive test cases.
Okay,
Yes.
we were not able to take the negative values here, neither were we able to destroy that lock screen settings option here. So this is how you need to think about the test cases. Because when you are on the job, no one's gonna tell you that this will be the positive test case or this will be the negative test case or these are all the list of test cases. They would explain you the requirement itself and you'll have to figure out how would you test each. What are the necessary test cases that you need to test just to make sure that there is no issues found at later stage of time. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm. Now coming back to the topic itself, test case, I guess you do have a very good understanding. We don't need to get into details of test cases now.
No, I'm good.
Okay. And what
I'm
about
good.
Rajan also? Sounds good. Now, component of
Yes.
test. We'll go into bit of details, not much. So regarding this component of test cases, there are few component of test cases, and it generally depends on your organization. What kind of test case format do they use? Okay. It's a very standard kind of a test case format that you are seeing here. We'll be just discussing each and every components that we have here. First is the test case ID. It uniquely identifies a test case because as we had discussed earlier, there are n number of test case for any given project. It could be in thousands, it could be in 10,000s or even 100, 500, whatever can be the number. So we need to keep track of each test case on an individual level. And for that, we need an ID. Are we clear?
Yes.
Second, the test case title. Test case title, it generally gives us a brief description. What exactly are we trying to achieve here? Okay, it's not going to give us the entire steps. It's just going to give us a gist here, like successful login. By reading this title, what exactly comes to your mind? That the login should be successful, correct?
Yes.
So that is the gist of the test case. So this test case would do nothing, just the login functionality testing, and it should be successful. Then only this test case would fail. Okay. Similarly, for negative testing, we can write the title unsuccessful.
Unsuccessful login. Yes.
That would be the test case. Again, for destructive test cases, we can write the test case is that crashing the login page. Okay.
Okay.
Now, preconditions. There are certain conditions that needs to be met in order for the test case to execute. Okay. Now, if we give the example, suppose that you need to test the login functionality. What are the basic conditions that you need to have? First of all, you need to have an internet connection. Okay. So that
Yes.
just go ahead and test the login functionality. And you need a proper system. I mean, a proper test environment. Let us just sum up the requirement of internet connection and the system I, on there. We can sum up the basic preconditions like internet connection and the system that we need. I mean, a computer. We can sum it up in one thing and we can call it test environment. Second, what we need? We need to we need a login page to test the login functionality, correct?
Yes.
And then we need a valid username, valid password, and a login button to click on. These are the preconditions that we require, correct?
Yes.
Now, so these are mentioned in the test steps here. Now, expected result. Expected results help us to know what exactly would be the function, I mean the end result for the steps that we perform. It's going to give us the result, expected result. Now, actual result, it's going to tell us what exactly happened after we did perform the test steps. Because there is a possibility that yes, you might have performed the login functionality, but the user was not able to log in. Correct? There can be that scenario also, that login
Ye-
functionality is not working. So expected result would differ from the actual result. Correct?
yes.
So in that case, the status would be fail. Now coming to the next component, status. Status gives us just a brief whether that test case was successfully passed or failed. I mean, whether the
Yes.
functionality is working or not, it just gives us the status. And remarks, we can add any kind of notes that yes, we tested for all kinds of username and password, or we were not able to test with the Google login. We can add that remarks for our future references. Okay.
Yes.
So these are all the components of test cases. Any doubts in these components that you might have?
No, I don't have any doubts on this.
Okay.
Cause yeah, I went over the only thing is I found in Google it says like test case structure where it uses the components. I think like I'm getting the same results here. The
Okay.
ID summary, preconditions, steps, post conditions, expected results, actual results, and status.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Now, then moving to the next part, that's the test case design technique. Okay, so
Okay.
did you go through this topic also, Deepen?
Yes, in a brief,
Yes,
like
so.
no, it's like uh, test
Mhm.
case design techniques. I'll say like
Go ahead, whatever comes to your
yeah,
mind. Feel free.
it is. Uh, it has a good test cases and common mistakes in the test case writings and the brief how to write a test cases.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, what is the use of test case design technique? Why do we use it?
To make everybody understand that how does the software is developed and what are the uh, successful result if we input correct things and what are the unsuccessful results if we mistake anything during the
So,
you
why do
know
we need test case design technique for that? We do have test cases for that. Why do we need the test case design techniques? I do have my test cases where it would give me the exact answer for that. Like what is the correct behavior, what is the actual behavior, whether that functionality is working or not. So why do we need that design technique?
then I'll pass it to you.
Okay.
I might
No,
have wrong understanding on that.
you had you don't exactly have the entire picture. You had the correct understanding, but not the entire picture. So let me help you out here. So test
Sure.
case design technique basically means that whenever someone tries to create a test case for any given requirements, okay, you need to make sure that each and every aspect test of that functionality or that requirement is covered. Okay, it's not that there might be some requirements for which you need to test multiple scenarios. Okay,
Yes.
and there might be few requirements that might have only single test cases. Okay, like
Yes.
give you an example. If you want to test whether home button is working or not, so for that there is a single test case only, that if we are not in the home page and we click on the home button, we are talking about the Facebook home button. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
in web view, if we are not on the home page and if we click on the home button, user should be navigated back to the home page itself. Okay,
Yes.
that's the single requirement of home button, and we don't need to test anything else, correct?
Yes.
But similarly, if we are trying to test the login functionality, then we have multiple test cases that we need to
Yes.
create. First, we need to verify the login functionality simply by entering the email ID and password. Second, we need to verify that the Google login is working or not. Okay.
Yes.
So these would be the two verifications that are minimum required for a login functionality to work on Facebook. And if we have to verify that login functionality through email and password, we need to verify each and every combination, whether the minimum character requirement is getting fulfilled or not, whether the maximum character limit is getting fulfilled or not. I mean, they should be working, the minimum and maximum character requirement. Okay, so we need to test it for each and every kind of input. So in order to make sure that we are testing each and every aspect of any requirement, we need design techniques. Okay,
Yes.
are we clear on it?
Yes.
Okay, so there are few methods that we use in the design technique to make sure that We are not leaving any cases behind. So first would be the equivalence partitioning. Okay.
Yes.
What we generally do is we equally partition data for the any particular requirement and we test it. The example that is shown here is testing a password field with a minimum length of 8 character and a maximum length of 20 characters. Now, as the definition itself says, equivalence partitioning, we need to partition it equally. So what we'll do first, the requirement says length is for 8 characters and 20 characters. So we'll partition it in 3 types. First, the password less than 8 characters, the starting requirement itself. Okay.
Yes.
Second, the password should be in between 8 to 20 characters, the minimum and the maximum limit. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And third would be greater than the 20 characters. So we
Yes.
equally partitioned the requirement, that is 8 to 20. We divided it into 3 parts: less than 8 character, more than 20 characters, and in between 8 and 20 characters. Now we can create all the 3 kinds of inputs that we want and we can test it. So once we verify these partitions, we would be able to say that yes, the character length is working. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, the second technique, that's boundary value analysis. Now, what it does is it focuses on the input range. What exactly do we have the input range? Basically, you can apply this on text fields where you need to verify the character limit. Okay, suppose you need to test the character limit of a comment section in Facebook, and the requirement is to comment on Facebook, you need minimum, or you can say that tweet section of Twitter. Okay, to tweet anything,
Yes.
there is a minimum requirement of 1 character and maximum requirement of 100
100
character that is
characters.
supported. Now you need to test. So in this case, you can't just equally partition it and test. You need to test each and every condition here. So what we will do? First, we'll we'll be using a combination of positive and negative testing here. Okay.
Yes.
The requirement starts from 1 and ends at 100. And we need to verify the boundary values. So what we'll be doing is first we'll be taking a number less than the given character limit here. So the starting character limit is 1. So we'll be taking the value 0 just to make sure that the 0 characters are not allowed. So if we try to tweet a blank tweet, it won't be allowed. Correct?
Yes.
Second, we need to verify that a single character tweet is also allowed here because that is the minimum requirement. So that would be our second characteristic, correct?
Yes.
Now, third, as you can see, the maximum character limit is 100. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that one less than, we need to analyze the entire boundary, one less than the total character limit. We are allowed to send here. I mean 99 characters by that. And
Yes.
one test value is missing here. We need to check for 2 characters also. Okay, we need to cover the entire boundary here. So the boundary would be from 0, 1, and 2. Okay.
Okay.
Similarly, for 100, the boundary would be 99, 100, and 101. That would be the boundary values. Correct?
Yes.
So there is that second 2 characters limit missing here. So that's what we need to test here. For 0 characters, we should not be allowed to tweet. With 1 characters, we should be allowed to tweet. So we have covered the starting point, correct? Similarly,
Yes.
for the ending point, we need to cover one less than the exact value, that is 99, the exact value, and one more than the exact value. So we should be allowed to tweet with 99 characters, 100 characters, but we should not be allowed to tweet with 101 characters. So Deepen, quickly, can you help me out here? Which are the positive test cases and which are the negative test cases here?
1, 2, and 99
Mm-hmm.
is a 1, 2, 99,
Mm-hmm.
and 100. Those are the positive test cases. 0 and 101 is negative test cases.
And we know the reason why so? Because these
Yeah,
characters.
cause we need to have at least one character to tweet,
Mhm.
and we shouldn't go more than 100 characters. So
Correct,
that's the reason 101 should be one character upper than the requirement,
correct.
so it will be failed.
Yes. Just to make sure that we are following the exact requirement.
Boundary and yeah, the boundaries. Yeah.
Yes. Now, when to use equivalence partitioning and when to use boundary value analysis. So you, as a tester, you need to make a call, okay?
Mm,
A rational
yes.
call that yes, if I need to test a password field, I need equivalence partitioning. If I need to text the input fields, then I need the boundary value analysis. Okay.
Okay.
Reason being, if you try to do the equivalence partitioning for testing 100 characters, you can do that, but it's not going to help you out here. Okay. You'll be doing the extra work here.
Mm, yes.
So you need to make a calculated guess that which design technique do we need to apply so that we can cover most of our area.
Yes.
Now, moving to the next point, that is decision table. Were you able to go through this concept?
No, not that far.
Yeah, okay. No problem. I'll explain to you. So, decision table basically means we need to create a table format and we need to make sure for a given input what exactly should be the output. Okay. And decision table, they are generally made, they are generally not, we do not generally create decision tables in day-to-day testing. For if there are any complex testing, very complex, for which there are multiple inputs, then only we make the decision table. Okay.
Okay.
Not for simple requirements. So most of your testing career, you won't be able, you won't be using this decision table testing.
Testing. Yeah.
Now, if we talk about the example, how exactly would it work? The best example is a loan application. Because if you consider a loan application, there are multiple criterias that a bank has in order to approve your loan, correct? You need to have a certain amount of civil score, you need to have a certain amount of income, then you need to have a certain amount of, what
Credit
is,
scores.
yes, and what is the relationship with your bank, and for how long have you been associated with the bank. So based upon these requirements, the bank would be able to come up with a number that yes, you can avail that much amount of credit from us, correct?
Yes.
So in order to get that credit number from bank, they use multiple conditions, correct?
Yes.
As it is shown here, income, credit score, loan approved. So for these kind, so what we will be doing, basically you just need to create a table that has the requirements that we need to check in order to give a particular result. Like first requirement is credit score.
Credit
Second,
score,
income.
income.
No, no, this one it starts from income. My bad. First is the income requirement. Second is the credit score. Third is loan approved. Okay. So now
Yes,
first, and there are certain inputs for each and every field. Like for the income part, it's they might have classified like for there might be four classifications: high income, medium income, low income, okay, and very low income. Let us assume these are the classifying criterias. Credit score: good, better, best, and bad. And for loan approved, yes or no. Will have only two options, correct?
yes,
Now, and one more, sorry, maybe. It depends upon the discretion of the manager or the person, your loan officer. So, first of all, what we need, how exactly does it work? Now, if if in the income section your income is high and your credit score is good, then loan would be approved. Correct?
approved. Hmm.
Yes. Second scenario, if we consider your income is low, your credit score is good, then your loan would be
Maybe.
approved. Income is low, but credit score is good,
Hmm.
then it would be maybe. If income is medium, credit score is good, loan would be approved. But
Yes.
if your income is bad, credit score is bad, then loan is definitely gonna not be approved. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So the approval status of loan depends upon the input that we received for income as well as credit score.
Credit
Then
score.
we can check what exactly would be the input for loan approved. I mean the output of loan approved, correct?
Yes.
So it basically depends upon the values that we get for each and I mean income and credit score. So we just need to make sure that we are covering each and every scenario so that if you do develop a banking software for your client, now your client inputs a certain, you can say certain order of values. So that order of values should give the bank a correct verdict. Okay. Like if the income is bad, credit score is bad, loan should never be approved. So if there is a banking software, generally what the bank manager or the person in charge of loan department would do is they would enter the values. Okay. And they'll get what exactly should we do with the loan, whether we should approve it or not. And if approved, what should be the loan amount that is determined by the banking software, correct?
Yes.
So we need to test that through decision table when there are multiple values involved for a particular output. Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Any doubt
sorry.
in decision table?
Uh, no, I think it's pretty clear, everything.
Okay. I know it's a bit complicated topic, but don't worry if you do read it once more when you do after the class, when you try to revisit these concepts, you'll be able to understand it clearly. Okay. For the very first time, it might sounds a bit complicated, but you'll get the gist of it as soon as you revisit these topics. Okay.
Okay.
Now, next, state transition testing. What it means is basically transitioning from one state to another. Okay. The state of that particular thing that we are testing, it is changing. And the best example for it is whenever you online, I mean, whenever you order something online, okay, you might have seen that the status of the product that you ordered, it changes with time, correct? Like
Yes.
if you order anything from Amazon, first you place the order. Now, after some time, Let us suppose that the product is gonna arrive after 4 days. So first it's gonna be, first as soon as we place the order, the state would be placed, order placed, correct? Now,
Yes,
as soon as the seller confirms the order, it's gonna be in shipped status. That yes, the seller has dispatched the order from his or her end. Now it's in the shipped category. Now the order is out from their warehouse and it is moving towards your location. Okay. Now, as soon
yes,
as the product is delivered to you, the status would be changed to delivered.
delivered. Yes,
Now, after delivery, there is a possibility that you might like the product or you might not like the product. In the later case, you can initiate a return request, and as soon as the product reaches the seller, back to the seller from you, this order status would be returned and you will get your money back. Correct?
yes,
So these are the status, different kind of transition status. So we need to test this, and the technique used is state transition testing, just to make sure that we are transitioning from one state to other. What we mean by that is from placed state, we need to be transferred to either shipped state or cancelled state. From placed state, we can't just transition to deliver state. Correct?
yes,
Because in between placed and delivered, there is shipped status, and we need to follow that status very diligently. Okay.
yes.
So that is what state transition testing is, technique is. Now, use case testing. That's another kind of a designing technique. What it basically means is what exactly is the purpose of that software that you have developed. You need to test as per your purpose. Okay.
Yes.
What do we mean by that? Again, let us take the example of an e-commerce website. What is the main purpose of an e-commerce website, Dipen, if I may ask?
Mostly the it is developed for the commercial like marketing, selling for the sales prospect
Yes, the main
mostly.
use case. Yes, the main use case of, you can say, e-commerce platform is for commerce purpose. I mean, you can
Yes,
buy or sell products on an e-commerce website. And if you go to specific websites like Amazon, you can just go there and sell products or buy products, whatever you want.
byproducts. Yes,
You can do that. Now, use case testing basically means that for whatever purpose we have developed the software, we are just going and testing that as per our use case. So in case of Amazon, what we will be doing is we want to test the buying experience in Amazon. So we would just go to the Amazon either on our system or in our mobile devices,
mobile device. Yes,
and we'll try to purchase any product. Okay. And we'll go through that entire checkout process. First, we'll search for that item. We'll add that item to our cart. If there is any kind of discounts available or any coupon that we have with us, we'll apply that. You might have seen that
yes,
Amazon does provide sometimes any discount coupons on certain products.
yes,
So we'll apply that discount. Then as soon as the discount is applied, we check with our PIN code whether that product can be delivered to our PIN code or not. Okay. And if we see that yes, the product is delivered to our PIN code, then we'll enter our shipping address and billing address and make the payment. Correct?
yes,
Now we just need to test the entire use case. that yes, we are able to make the payment and confirm the order. Similar thing goes for the selling experience as well. We would download Amazon business application, and we would try to list our product on that, just to go through that entire selling experience on Amazon. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, if you don't know, there is a feature in Amazon by which you can become an Amazon seller also. You can sell your products on Amazon. I hope you know that.
Oh, yes. There's an option.
Yes. And the last design technique is error guessing technique. Now, what this basically means is, by having that intuition of a tester, you can try to guess what kind of errors might originate for any particular software. What we mean by that is, when you do testing for few years now, you'll have that idea that what kind of error might come for these softwares, because you have that much year of experience with you. And you know, the sometimes you might know the developer, that this developer does his works very diligently, so I might not get any kind of basic errors.
Error. Mhm.
And there are certain developers who don't develop that diligently, so they might not. So you might also know few developers that, oh, this if this functionality has been developed by this particular developer, he does not do his work very diligently, so I need to test everything. There would be some basic errors or basic functionalities not working. Okay.
Okay.
So based upon your experience, you can deduce the errors. An example
Yes.
would be division. If there is any mathematical requirement, the error guessing, that being a developer, what you should be able to guess is, if there is a mathematical requirement, division by zero. If we divide any number by zero, we get infinity, correct?
Yes.
So we should be aware that yes, if there is a requirement that involves numerical calculation, we should first go and check that if we try to divide a number by zero, the application should not crash. It should give a proper error message. Okay. Similar thing goes for null pointer exception or incorrect data formatting. Null pointer exception basically means, okay, we'll be dealing with this null pointer exception in Java. Okay. It's basically a coding error, you can say. And incorrect data formatting, like time, if the time format allowed for the requirement is 12 hours time format, but the developers actually developed 24 hours format. So that's incorrect, correct?
Yes.
And we should be able to figure it out.
Yes.
So that is with the different type of techniques for testing. Any doubts, Deepan or Rajan, till now?
No, not from my side.
Okay.
Not from me as well.
Now, importance of test case design. Again, it's simple basic definitions. Comprehensive test case coverage, defect prevention, improved efficiency, better communication, enhanced test reusability. So these are the basic, what I can say, these are the basic value addition that we get from using test case design technique. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yes.
what do we mean by defect prevention? What do we mean by defect? As you can see, any deviation from the normal behavior, that is known as defect. Okay.
Okay.
Now, that defect prevention, if we design our test cases correctly, we won't be getting any kind of defects at later stages, correct? So all in all, it's
Yes.
gonna increase our, I mean, it's gonna reduce our budget. We won't be spending any extra time. So we won't be going over budget with our development process, correct?
Yes.
Improved efficiency. If we cover all the aspects, du- I mean, if we cover all the requirements during our testing, so it's gonna improve our efficiency. We would be able to meet our timeline. Suppose the product might have committed to the client that I'll deliver this software within 3 months or 1 month. Now, if we, whenever we do the testing and we are able to raise all the issues, then developers would be able to fix them in a timely manner and we'll be able to meet the deadline. Vice versa goes. If that we are not able to figure out all the defects at early stages, and these defects are found at later point of time, then again the developers gonna just need to fix those defects at later point of time, and we'll be retesting it. So at the end, it's gonna increase the deadline. Okay, so the efficiency would be reduced. That is what we mean by improved efficiency. Better communication. As you develop the test cases, covering all the scenarios and sharing it with the developers, just to make sure that they are also aware that these are the test cases that you'll be executing. So they'll go through those test cases and make sure that they have covered all those scenarios in their codings also. Okay, so it basically facilitates better communication between all the parties, be it developers, be it tester, be it the product. We also share our test cases with the product. And if he if he does have that time with him, he'll go through that test cases. And sometimes they might also recommend you to add these test cases, or these test cases are not required. They'll give their suggestions also. So all in all, it's help help us to improve the communication between the and all the stakeholders in a team. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if we do develop test cases very diligently, now what it does is there are suppose there are n requirements right now, and we have developed all the test cases. Now few more requirements are added, two more requirements are added, so our total requirement is n plus 2. Okay, at a later point of time. Now we just need to create the test cases for the two additional requirements, not the entire requirements, correct?
Yes.
So there is that we can reuse those test cases. Similarly, like suppose we are a software service providing company. We develop a particular software for any of our clients. We wrote all the test cases. Now we do have a different client that also wants the same kind of softwares. Okay.
Mhm.
Now what we can do is we can just quickly assemble that same team that had earlier worked on the similar kind of project, and we can just reuse that by making minor enhancements and changes. Okay, so
Okay.
these kind of test cases, they are reusable also if you write them correctly. And the very first point, sorry, I left that one, that's comprehensive test coverage. It ensures all the functionalities are tested. Like there are 5 requirements, that to having different cases in them, like you can say password field or text field. So we need to cover all those requirements comprehensively based upon their individual criterias. Correct? We need to test
Yes.
the text field differently from login field. The values would differ, the approach would differ. So we need to do a comprehensive test case coverage.
Yes.
So these all features can be achieved through test case design. Okay.
Yes.
So sounds about right. So any questions till now, Deepen or Rajan, regarding anything?
No, not
Mm,
not from my end.
no, not from
These
my
are
end too.
definitions and theoretical parts, so I'm able to get all the parts.
Okay.
with your explanation.
So let us conclude our class here only, as there are too many advanced concepts. So I would recommend that you do go through these concepts on your own as well. If possible, today itself only. Go through all those concepts. I'm finishing this class half an hour early. The reason behind is so that you can go through all these concepts and get a clear understanding. Okay?
Okay.
And if you do get any kind of doubts, just note that down, and tomorrow we'll discuss on those doubts if you have any. If not, we'll move towards the next topic.
Okay.
Again, I'm telling you, go through these concepts, okay? These are a bit complicated concepts here, and you guys need to go through these concepts on your own. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, thanks for your patience. Doubts, if any, you would like me to explain, or anything else that you would like to ask, or any feedback from you guys.
No doubt so far, cause it is always good to you gave us advanced topics that can be covered tomorrow, so we will have time to